love. Time now, 14 minutes past 9 here on the Radio Wammo breakfast on your Wednesday morning.
The Geek Show.
Isn't joining us from thegeekshow.com, 2 3s rather than 2 E's. It's Chelfyn this morning, and it's been a little while since we've spoken to Chelfyn. Good morning, Chelfyn.
Good morning, Wammo.
Of course, joining us from Mohawk Studios.
Yes, indeed.
And if you're watching the video stream, you have to see a live video feed of Chelfyn coming on through as well. Today we're talking about something. This is a fascinating subject I know nothing about, so I'm glad you're telling us about it. Lava tubes on the moon.
Yes, this is something that I've been quite interested in ages. I've always been into the idea of colonizing space since I was a kid, and all the different changing tactics as we find out more and more about what's going on out there, to how we could live and where we should live. And everyone used to kind of assume that the moon would be a great place to go. And for a while it started looking at that actually the moon was getting to be quite a boring place to be.
Yeah.
Just a dangerous thing at the bottom of yet another gravity well. But, you know, with finding sort of more and more evidence of water availability, and now finding a possible entrance to a lava tube. And this is very exciting.
Does this anything to do with what happened recently with chucking a rocket at the moon that they did just a couple of weeks ago? No,
this has nothing to do with that. This is actually from a group from a Japanese aerospace exploration agency looking for holes in lava tubes. And this was taken by Japan's Kaguya spacecraft, which spent 2 years orbiting the moon. And it ended its mission back in June. And we've long had evidence that these lava tubes exist. They're up to 1 kilometre wide, but we've been in a catch-22 situation. We know they're there because we can see huge, long rills, valleys, where they've collapsed. So we can find where there are collapsed lava tubes, but they're no use to us. We can't see where there are intact lava tubes close to the surface, other than occasionally places like there's the Hyginus Rill in Sinus Medai, which is about 10 miles. There's gaps about 10 miles long between these rills, which probably means that's a 10-mile long uncollapsed section.
Okay, so now if
there's possible places to go here.
Okay, well, if you're looking at a close-up picture of the moon, do they look like craters almost?
No, they look like long lines.
Okay,
right,
like creases in the surface.
Yes, pretty much like little winding worms and things. Now the moon is riddled with these things. Or we think they are. There's lots of geological evidence for this. And they're going to be very geologically stable. But what we've finally found is an opening, what could be an opening into an intact tube. So they found this skylight at the top of a lava tunnel. And the hole is 65 meters across and at least 80 meters deep.
Right.
And the lava tube that it looks like this leads into could be as wide as 370 meters across, right?
Okay, so these are huge.
Big things. Now, for several reasons, this is kind of important. First of all, shielding on the moon, right? If you're going to live on the moon, you're in incredible danger from micrometeorites and hard radiation. And it's already been shown, pretty much proven that with hard radiation, some shielding can actually be worse than none at all. Because what happens with solar proton events and galactic cosmic rays is when they hit the first layer of shielding, they're quite powerful particles in themselves. When they hit some shielding, they actually yield a load of other particles which themselves are quite dangerous. But after about 5 meters of granite, those particles then get absorbed.
Okay.
So if you can get under 5 meters of lunar regolith, you'll be fine. But that's quite a lot of protection to try and take with you, 5 meters of rock.
Yeah, so
burying under 5 meters, a lot easier.
So that sci-fi vision of living under a little dome isn't exactly accurate.
Well, it sort of is. We'll be living in. We'd start off probably in inflated domes, but the inflated domes would be built within lava tubes, so that they'd be protected that way. And then, as things expanded, we could look at pressurizing lava tubes to create large pressurized shirt sleeve environments, which would just be awesome.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, so is this all potential? You know, is that possible?
Oh, very. I mean, we can already kind of prove we can get there, unless you believe the conspiracy theories that it was all filmed. So we can get there. We've already done plenty of research into things like, inflatable research stations and things like that. The only difficulty will be getting down into that hole and seeing if we can get enough equipment to clear out whatever gets in between that hole and a lava tube.
Right.
But
it just doesn't seem like the vision that we had for living on the moon, to eventually get there and then crawl down a hole.
Well, the thing is, we'll crawl down a hole, we'll still have a door out onto the moon, but the moon's surface is a very hostile place for human beings.
Yeah.
The temperature goes up and down massively. We'll be protected from that. The dust is an absolute killer on the moon. Quite literally, it will get into every piece of machinery that goes out there and make it stop working.
Right.
Quite quickly. The lunar regolith dust is very fine. It's electrostatically attracted to everything. And one of the things the astronauts found up there was, their suits just got covered in it. So it would be a way of keeping most of the equipment away from that ever-present lunar dust as well.
Well, I mean, what do you think the usefulness of going to the moon is, apart from being, really cool? Is there anything there that we need, or is it a staging area to head off somewhere else?
Well, it's a toss-up in useful places between the moon and the Lagrange point, the gravitational balance point between the Earth and the moon. And the moon didn't used to look that good, but having enough gravity to keep humans remotely healthy and to make engineering easy. It's quite hard working everything in microgravity. And there's quite a lot of risk to spinning everything up to noticeable Gs when you're up in a Lagrange point or up in an atmosphere. So it's quite handy for humans to have some gravity around, and for a lot of the things we do, like growing plants and stuff like that. So yeah, it's good for space colonization, and also if we can get to some water up there, then that's really useful, because water is air and it's fuel. We can crack that into hydrogen, and then that's fuel. All we have to do is get some nuclear reactors up there, or big solar farms, or something like that, and we've got the essentials of what we need, water, air, and energy.
Yeah.
And we can start from there.
Yeah.
So I think it's looking more and more positive that it would actually make for a very good base to develop these technologies. And it's at the bottom of a much shallower gravity well. So for launching other things into space, there's no need for having huge rockets and massive G accelerations. We could actually fling stuff from the moon by constructing large magnetic acceleration railgun type things without the need for rockets and stuff like that.
In our lifetime, do you think?
Yes, I would think so. Not necessarily built by humans, built probably by teleoperated robots to start off with. But yeah, I definitely think in our lifetime. I think in 10 to 15 years, our robotics technology will have us to the moon a lot faster and quicker than people expected, because we'll only have to take small robots there.
Well, it's exciting stuff. Thanks, Chelfyn, from the...
Isn't it just?
It is. I love it. So thegeekshow.com, 2 3s rather than 2 E's. We've just been looking at lava tubes on the moon. And, of course, you can hit up Chelfyn on Twitter as well, twitter.com/Chelfyn, Chelfyn. Cheers, mate. See you next time.
No problems. Catch you.